How's it going? I'm Joe Ovius from 99.9 The Fan here in Raleigh, and I also do a 919 Beer podcast with these two guys. This is Adam Eschbaugh. This is Wayne Holt. They run 919 Beer Econo Festival in the late summer, which is always a good time. And it's summertime now, which means we got to switch out. Gone are the winter warmers, gone are the pumpkin ales. We are in summer beer season. So the question is, what are we drinking this summer?
I'm a fan of session IPAs, like in general, any time of year, but especially in the summer, because when it gets warm outside, I don't want to be bogged down and just want to take a nap after having 2 or 3 beers. So I do a lot of yard work, a lot of stuff outside with my family. So
that's the key, though, the lawnmower beer.
Yes.
That's what we refer to them as. I mean, there's beach beers and everything
Yes.
else, but there is that lawnmower beer that after you've had a long day in the yard mowing, doing various yard work, you need something that's going to quench your thirst. And session IPAs are different from normal IPAs in what way?
Well, it's a lower alcohol and a lot lower on the bitterness, and they're still heavy into flavor. Well, the good ones are, at least. So we've got some local ones, like Bombshell does a really nice one called Hot Teas. Oscar Blues Penner has always been one of my favorites. There's pretty much everybody has a session IPA these days. It's like a couple years ago, everybody had a regular IPA. Now everybody's doing a session version of their IPA.
Wayne, you got a favorite sessionable IPA?
I don't really like session IPAs. I like IPAs, so I'm going to drink, I've been hitting a lot of the bells Two Hearted already. The AMB Longleaf IPA is another favorite of mine, but still trying to keep it in that not over 6.5%. But yeah, I do like the hop teas that he mentioned from Bombshell. And they've also got one, the Starlight Cream Ale, which I really like. That's an enjoyable beer. But I stay with mostly hops in the summer and not really worried about session.
The other thing you'll see a lot in the area during the summertime are Berliner Weiss beers, essentially. Very low alcohol beers. You can usually pair them with fruit to give you a different kind of flavor depending on what they want to pair it with. Sometimes they do it with syrup if we're keeping it like in Germany. Other times the flavors are actually put into the beer. And I think just about everybody does some kind of Berliner Weiss. For instance, Trophy Brewing will mess around with their various Berliner Weisses, sometimes mixing in blueberry, sometimes using passion fruit. Right now they've got one, at the time of us discussing this, they have a pina colada, which is actually coconut with their Berliner Weiss. You got any sort of Gosas or other sour beers that you actually like during the summertime?
They're all the rage right now.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Everybody's looking into the wild stuff, which is awesome. I know that Deep River usually does a few per year. Last year they had a pineapple version of their Berliner Weiss that was outstanding. But you said Gosas, and Trophy's also got one called the Rose Goza.
They do.
Everybody goes crazy. They throw rosemary in it. And I like those because, once again, they're really low alcohol, lots of flavor. Sometimes they take a little bit of getting used to because of the tartness, and people are sometimes turned off by that.
Yeah.
You get used to that flavor, and sometimes you start craving.
Yeah, Westbrook also does. They're from out of town. They're in South Carolina, in Charleston, South Carolina.
Mount Pleasant, actually.
Yes, you're right. Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. But they really kind of got people into the Ghostas around here. They came out with one in a can. It's easy to take to the beach. I think you've described it as getting out of the ocean and just kind of doing this. That salt works in the summertime.
Yeah, the Westbrook Goza was the first one I'd ever tried, and it was really the go-to. And when they started distributing it into the state, it's like you can't get enough of it. But you mentioned Deep River. They also make that watermelon lager, which is incredible too, and a great summer beer because you've got that fruit taste.
Yeah,
Yes.
Watermelon's really popular. I'm drinking the Heavy Melon by New Belgium right now, and it's one of several watermelon beers that we've got available for almost. Well, it's May now, but it'll be throughout the entire summer.
Yeah, and it's funny. You see watermelon lime, which is what the New Belgium heavy melon beer is.
Yeah.
You're thinking, wait, watermelon lime? But trust me, at this time of the year, and if it's 90 degrees outside, you're going to want something like that hits you with not a lot of alcohol content and is refreshing. And it certainly fits the bill in that regard.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're out here at State of Beer off of Hillsborough Street in downtown Raleigh. And this is one of my favorite places to go to for what we describe as patio season. Once spring hits, the pollen goes away, the weather's nice, you want to sit outside and enjoy a beer. And for me, in downtown Raleigh, State of Beer pretty much hits all the things that you want in a beer spot. They've got a great selection. They don't overwhelm you with the amount of taps. They just select really good beers to choose from all sorts of varieties, all sorts of styles. they also have a beer shop, bottle shop, attached to it. So when you walk in, not only can you try the beers from tap, you can actually buy some other stuff, bring it out here if you want to. And they also got a really good restaurant as well. Sandwiches, salads, large plates, meat plates, cheese plates, things like that. And right on Hillsborough Street, you get to do some people watching. You're not too far from everything else. To me, this is one of the easier spots to hang out at during the summertime.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if you're going to a bottle shop.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a one-stop shop.
Yes.
You can eat, you can get your beer for the week, and you can have a couple beers while you're here. You can bring your dogs.
Yes.
It's pet friendly, at least outside, and I know a lot of people that do that.
Adam and I both live down in the Holly Springs Fuquay area, so I spend a lot of time down at the Aviator beer shop. They've got some outdoor seating, but they're also adding on to their tap room there in Verena, so they're increasing their capacity there. Holly Springs, you've obviously got some good restaurants.
Hey, what's out in the Holly Spring, Adam?
There's a lot of everything. Life begins in Holly Springs, Jim.
But there's a lot of cool
Don't
stuff
understand.
that's out there, right?
There's great stuff. There's a patio at Bombshell. Carolina Brewing Company, little less than a year ago, just opened their brand new tap room. That's outstanding, and they've got some outdoor stuff out there as well. So Carolina Brewing Company was always known for their big free tours on Saturdays.
Right.
And you come have fun. Well, now they've got this tap room, and it's absolutely beautiful. But we like going up to Durham a good bit too. I know
Yes.
Ponysaurus has. If you haven't been to Ponysaurus, which I know we all have, but they've got that tremendous deck and a nice yard, and that place is primed for spring and summer.
Ponysaurus, I can't recommend enough. You mentioned the deck that they've got that you can hang out and see downtown Durham and everything else, but they actually have an enclosed yard as well. So if you've got a couple of young ones, they can run around, have a good time. Bring a frisbee, bring a soccer ball, they can kick it around. They also have some snacks too. Like, it's the only brewery where you can get Swedish fish to go along with your beer. Pretty cool, right?
And malted milk balls.
Yes, they do. And again, you can't beat the outdoor setup. I mean, it's the closest thing that we have around here to what you would consider a beer garden. You're just outside, benches, and enjoying the day. And of course, you have the Durham Bulls. What's summer without baseball, right? And the cool thing about the Durham Bulls is that they now have their own brewery. They actually started up last year, Bull Durham Beer Company,
Right.
and they've expanded their selection of beers. Not only do they have a Water Tower Wheat, as they call it, or the Lollygagger Kolsch, but they've introduced some IPAs and an amber ale as well.
They've got their amber lager, and which is a Vienna style, and they've got their white IPA, which we all had when we did the podcast there
Yes.
a few weeks ago, and they were both outstanding.
So I think we got you covered now for the summer. Beer choices, beer places, whatever you want to do, we've got it. 919 Beer Podcast. You can listen to it on iTunes and on our WRL Sports Fan app as well.